The biggest skill that has single-handedly made me the most money in my career is understanding dynamic lighting. Cameras and lenses are important, but lighting is something that is so neglected that definitely has the most impact on what you're seeing in your image. Today, I want to talk about the importance of dynamic lighting. As somebody who's been doing this for 10 years, I've had years to where I've made over $300,000 because I understand the skill of how to get the right look from what I'm filming. So what I want to do is I want to give you a brief overview of some of the tools and lights that I've been using to craft some of the looks that I have. We're going to keep this really simplistic, but at the end of this, you should kind of understand why I'm using certain lights for certain situations, whether it be interviews or commercials or outdoor. Today, we're going to cover it all. What's going on, guys? I want to talk to you guys about lighting today, something that honestly should be a multi-part series, and it might be, because what I want to focus on today is some of the products that I've been using. I've been using two lights in particular. I find myself alternating between them when it comes to my indoor setup for simplicity and my outdoor setups or commercial setups for complexity. The lighting choices that I make really are just tools. Essentially, I try to find the right tool for the right job always, and I think that applies with lenses, cameras, everything. I say this so genuinely, don't get so caught up in needing the newest thing or the latest thing. I want to showcase you some of the things that I've been using efficiently because of their simplicity or because they just fit exactly what I need. Before we get into this, let's talk about the purpose of dynamic lighting. The thing that separates beginning filmmakers versus people who actually do this for a living or people who want to make a lot of money from doing this is their core understanding of the gear that they actually have. A lot of people buy a lot of stuff, have it, don't put the time in to understand it. I tell the people that I work with, I say, I want you to know this light like you paid for it, like you spent your own money on it. Invest time into understanding what it is you're working with. When it comes to dynamic lighting, I try to keep things simple while also getting the traditional look that I want to get, which is the interview subject or the person that you're focusing on is the most important thing in the image. And as far as the storytelling aspect of it, when I do my commercial work, I try to make even the most dynamic looking stuff look like it could have been caught naturally in that environment. That's just some of the looks that I want. Some stuff gets a bit more obscure, some stuff gets a bit more complex, but the simplicity of it is I want to do what feels right. And I want to do what feels right for the narrative that I'm creating. So I let the narrative drive the look and the overall feel of what I'm trying to create. That is kind of, in a nutshell, the mindset that I go into all of this with. But what I want to do is break this into three sections actually. Let's do interviews, commercial setups, and then the specific tools, light modifiers that I've been using to craft some of these shots. When it comes to my interview setups, here's the thing. Time is money with what I do. I don't really have a lot of time to set up a ton of stuff always because when I'm doing story videos, I'm in businesses. I'm in places that are actually operational, and sometimes they don't have a lot of time to dedicate for me to just take up all the space that I need. So I try to get simplistic. One of the most recent lights that I've been using is a light from GVM. It is a 500 watt light that does not have a battery pack, which is really, really good for me because there's not a lot of stuff that I need to care for. Okay, so this is the GVM SD500B ARO or Arrow that I've been using, a all-in-one light solution. As you can see, this is it. This is a 500 watt light that is exceptionally bright. It is bicolor. And if you look here, exceptionally simplistic controls. If you're somebody who might be trying to get into getting a bright light or somebody who doesn't want to feel intimidated by all the controls, very, very all-in-one, very simplistic build here. I like this light because it just takes the one cable. That's it. I bring my stand, I bring my one cable. I don't have to do anything else. You can hook these things up together. If you have multiple of them, they are linked via the phone. I traditionally don't like to use phones on my commercial sets or my interview sets. I feel like that's just a little bit of a distraction. But overall, the thing that I'm looking for is, if I'm doing interviews, is a light powerful enough to set the subject? Is it reliable enough that I don't have to worry about it breaking, it being super plasticky? This thing is heavy. It is built like a tank, but it's not unwieldy. The reason it's so heavy is because the power supply, the cooling elements, all of it is built right here into the core housing of it. But the great thing about it is I can just take this with me. Here are the downsides. It doesn't come with a case. You know, a lot of these newer lights comes with cases and a lot of stuff that you have to have with them. This thing is something to where it's $500. Like, I think it's one of the cheapest lights that is the brightest that I can recommend that actually works. That's a lot, but truthfully, I really enjoy using this thing because of its simplicity. So I've been using it on a few interviews over the last 3 months or so, and it's been great. Literally no complaints. I trust my job with it, so definitely says a lot. Because of how straightforward this light is, there isn't much to say. It's just a hard recommendation. So if you're somebody who is looking to get into a bright light at the beginning, I love this light. But for things that are a bit more complex, or if I want a little bit more out of my light, I want something that's a little bit brighter, all right, I got you. A lot of times I'm doing commercials. Lighting commercials are hard. They just are. That's where I get into a bunch of modifiers. That's where I get into these outdoor looks, or you have to really understand what you're working with. But you get into higher end lights, and I have one for you. If the other light was too simplistic for you, I have a 600 watt light here from Neewer. Comes with a case. This thing is built like a tank. The case is incredible. The rollers on the bottom, you know, if I'm traveling or if I am taking the gear van and it's something where I just don't want to raw dog a light and just carry a bare light like the GVM, this is the professional looking setup. It is over double the price though for a little bit more power, but you get a bit more out of this. Let's check it out. So this is what I found myself using for my commercial shoots recently. A 600 watt light that, as you can see here, is also very simplistic, but it is really, really high quality. The build of it is very, very tanky. It's, you know, robust handles. Everything about it doesn't really cut corners, which I like when it comes to a professional light. Here's the kicker. The battery pack for this thing is huge, but there are some benefits. V-mount on the battery pack has saved my life. I had a shoot to where it was fully outdoor. I had no inverters, I had no cables or anything, and I genuinely needed a light. And it was the first day I got this light. It was completely coincidental because I don't want to say I was underprepared. I couldn't even see the situation coming because I was supposed to be filming indoors, and last minute they were like, yo, we want to film at the very front of this parking lot where there's like right next to the highway, where there's no outlets, no extension cords, nothing. I pulled this light out. I took it out of the packaging on the shoot and hooked up 2 V-mount batteries. I currently use the 212 small rig battery. Beautiful. I cannot thank this light enough because it immediately saved me, but that's kind of the benefits. That's one of the things that you get when you're paying a little bit more. Yes, it's a little bit brighter because it's a 600 watt light bicolor versus the 500 watt, but you get additional things. That's why I say it's important to understand what tool fits the job, because this thing isn't something I just always use. Like the cabling on this, dude, look at this. This is, I'm not exaggerating. This is insane. This is something to where it's a lot. I use it for commercials because I have more hands on deck. I have more people and more things to get done. But this is a lot. So you kind of have to understand, why am I using what I'm using? Is it just to get a bright light on a subject for an interview? Or am I really trying to have an all-in-one solution that I can take outdoor, that I can take anywhere, that I can do whatever I want with, and not get caught up in the consumerism of buying everything that everybody recommends? These are the 2 lights that I've been using. These are the 2 lights that have been pretty much filling out my kit. And if I had to want more, The next thing I want to do is invest in a 1200 for these really, really bright outdoor lighting scenarios. Just to give you a size comparison of what it looks like when you put the all-in-one, this has the power solution and everything built into it, versus a separate power solution. Yes, this thing is lighter because, you know, it can be more flexible on the stand, which means I don't need as heavier as a stand, but this thing is a bit chunky. So as far as weight and going back and forth, it's like, yeah, this weighs more, but this is it. And then this thing, I have to have the case, the battery, the cables, a little bit of everything. But here's the important thing. What I believe is more important than the lights themselves are modifiers. A while back, I talked about a light modifier that I've been using outside, my 8x8 scrim. Well, recently I've been getting into a bit more stuff. I've got a chance to try out a snoot. And if you don't know what a snoot is, it is basically like a cone that goes onto your light that focuses your light in. And it's not like a Fresnel, which is like a lens that focuses your light. A snoot lets you put these weird textures behind on the back wall for interviews, or just have some, I've been using it for patterns on commercials to break up lighting like trees and stuff would. Really, really cool. This is a snoot by Neewer. Essentially, as you can see, it is a Bowens mount device that goes on to the end of the light that focuses the light. I love this thing. I've been using it to create dynamic patterns on my backgrounds, to break up patterns on subjects, to make stuff feel natural, but with a kick. This thing has been awesome, and it works really, really well on most lights because it is a Bowens mount. So if you're getting into dynamic lighting, lights are important because they are the right tool for the right job. Look into the accessories, snoots, Fresnels, diffusers. I've talked about a couple of these in the past, but I want to kind of give you guys a starting point if you're looking to make money using things like this. So I'm just going to do my best to do this quickly. And there you are. You got a unit of a unit of a light, but it really does help create some really dynamic images. I love this setup. I've been using it a lot with my interviews, a lot with commercials, but I have to bring you more and more stuff in the future. What I want to talk about real quick before we go, if you're looking to do this full time, if you're really wanting to kind of get into this and you want to understand more and be a bit more in depth with it, let me know. I have a Patreon currently that I offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching, but I've been kind of transitioning it into something more. So it might be going away in a specific form soon, but I'm always down to help you guys make more money. That's like my big goal, because I've had business coaches and they were the most impactful thing on my life. That's the only reason I was able to make $300,000 in a single year, because of the mindset transformation and the skill set development that I was able to have by focusing down, getting a business coach and understanding. So if you're interested, let me know, shoot me an email, check out the link below in my Patreon. I'll walk you through any and everything or answer any questions that you have. In fact, I'm probably gonna have a group call to where all you guys are just invited, just an open workshop to where we can just virtually chat, catch up, and I walk you through some of the things that have been the most impactful in my life. But with that all being said, that's all I have for today, guys. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, consider subscribing, because I'm bringing you more content just like this every chance that I get, but every week. You guys stay safe, you're loved, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.